Bill Panoff here, the editor-in-chief of Porthole Cruise Magazine, and we are always intrigued by cruise experiences beyond the ordinary. And it's a great pleasure to have with us this morning Francesco Galli Zagaro, the CEO and founder of Aqua Expeditions. Francesco, how are you?
Very well. Good morning, Bill. Yes, very well. Thank you. Here from Singapore and happy to join you today.
It's great to have you here. You know, Aqua
Likewise.
Expeditions is known, as everyone knows, for cruises in the Amazon in South America and the Mekong River in Southeast Asia. Can you tell us about your latest venture? It's very exciting in expedition cruising and the Aqua Blue yacht.
It is exciting times. When we launched in October, it was a 3-year project when we launched into the Raja Ampat season of Indonesia. Basically, as for those that don't know, I cut my teeth into expedition cruising in the Galapagos. And so what better place to fall in love with this industry than an iconic destination like the Galapagos? And that was about 20 years ago. And then when I launched 13 years ago, Aqua Expeditions, whilst people relate Aqua Expeditions to river cruising, our guests and your readers are not necessarily tied to one specific body of water. And so as long as we were able to deliver consistent guest experiences in remote destinations, I saw as a perfect natural growth to do small ship coastal cruising. And I had been vetting destinations. I spent about doing regular times. I spent about half the time of the year scouting new destinations, new bodies of water around the world. And so when I fell in love with the Mekong, I saw an opportunity to do something between Vietnam and Cambodia. And then I went to Indonesia, saw this island nation of, 17,000 islands in low tide and, 15,000 islands in high tide. And I saw that beyond Bali, there's an incredible opportunity to explore this part of the world. And whilst Raja Ampat, Komodo National Park, and the Spice Islands appealed and are stories that people hear of as Spice Islands, there are no scheduled FIT departure trips on beautiful explorer yachts. And so I saw an opportunity.
Wow.
And I scouted the world for the right ship. I found, whilst we could have built, typically we build ships of 50 to 20 cabins. This one was the right setting for it, the right asset that we found in Genoa at the yacht show, and it had incredible heritage, and really truly fell in love with the story behind the what was the HMS Beagle and now the Aqua Blue.
Wow. When will she launch?
So she actually launched and finished her first season. She launched in November last year and did her maiden voyage. I brought her from Italy. From Genoa, she sailed to Singapore, did 7,000 miles, all on basically one fuel tank. She has capacity for 140,000 liters. Then got to Singapore, did a 4-month refit here. We converted her into a beautiful 15-cabin luxury explorer yacht with 30 crew and 30 guests. And then took her to Bali, and then did the entire Eastern Indonesian route of about 28 days. I hosted the inaugural voyages between Bali, Komodo National Park, the Spice Islands, and all the way to Raja Ampat, West Papua. So truly an incredible voyage. No?
Wow. Sounds amazing. The past few months, I don't have to tell you, have been very challenging for the cruise industry. What changes have you made on board your vessels to accommodate the latest health protocols, if you would?
Well, of course, we've had to, with our ear to the ground and in touch with our guests and our trade partners, we've obviously had to respond. But I guess one of the biggest advantages of being such a small ship expedition company and focused on the premium high-end kind of guest experience is that our ships are very manageable. We've only got 15 cabins, huge space. We've sacrificed, on a 65-meter yacht, we've only got 15 cabins. They're all 25 to 30 square meter cabins. And so we haven't had to do much as far as the layout of the vessel because we've got multiple dining venues that we can create spaces. We service the cabins 3 times a day. We've tried to, it's finding that right balance between creating a trusted and reassurance as far as guest experience on board and not affecting the traveler's experience. And we found that by making sure we communicate this effectively. We've had to communicate more than ever that our differentiating factors are that we always do everything in small groups of 8 guests to 1 guide. And so people choose, never do we go into shore excursions larger than 4 couples. So as far as health and safety, we've had to do obviously all the protocols to ensuring our crew is safe, because our guests once on board, they're going to have gone through multiple checkpoints, be it departure town, airports, hotels, until they get to us. So as long as we ensure them a safe, hygienic environment on board between our guests and disinfection and health protocols on board, we have to create that safe environment for them. And we're comfortable with those measures. We've implemented it based on IMO, ISM standards that we're fully compliant with.
You have won numerous awards for the five-star experience for Aqua Expeditions. What can your cruise guests expect from Aqua Expeditions that's very different from mainstream cruising, for example?
Well, to be honest, a lot of our guests are not necessarily mainstream cruising clients. Our guests are those soft adventure, sort of those affluent explorers, the ones that want to do Antarctica, they want to do Galapagos, they want to do
Sure.
African safaris. So traditionally, the mainstream cruising guests might be attracted primarily to many times to the ship itself. Our main attraction is a destination. It's to cruise the iconic Mekong or to cruise the Amazon River in Peru and now the coastal waterways of Indonesia. And then as a default, as a byproduct, choose a small expedition ship like ours. So as long as I am true to our ethos, which is it's got to have a wildlife component, it's got to have a cultural component, it's got to have a fine dining component. We always partner with consulting chefs around the world. In Peru, it's Pedro Miguel Scafino, a world-class, world's best chef, David Thompson in Asia, and Ben Cross in Indonesia. And that there's always got to be a customized customized guest experience in other small groups, and all within a very contemporary modern design. And those, as long as I check those, our guests are attracted by the destinations and the kind of modern look and feel to these ships.
Sure.
We've kind of broken the element as far as river cruising and taken the design element to another level.
Are there any new itineraries or themed cruises in the works you could give our viewers a little preview of, perhaps?
So I've undertaken, because I'm obviously very active and very passionate about the business, and the Peruvian product has fared very well thanks to support like your publication and portal. Obviously, over the years, we've garnered a huge amount of support in the Amazon. And so what we decided about 2 years ago is to build a new ship for the Amazon. The Ari Amazon is doing very well, or at least was doing very well until these crazy times, and will return to normality when time permits. But in the meantime, we've been building a new ship for the Amazon called the Aquanera. But because I've moved over to Asia, I decided to build her here. I built her in Vietnam. So she did her, and this will be an incredible feat. It's kind of considered the modern day Fitzcarraldo. What's going to happen is the boat is finished and did sea trials last week in Ho Chi Minh. She's been built in about 11 months. She's a 65-meter, 20-cabin cruiser. And then she's going to be heavy lift cargoed all the way from Ho Chi Minh to Berlin, Brazil. It's a 35-day 9,000-mile journey, and then put in the water in Berlin and navigated 1,100 miles upriver to Iquitos. So that's my latest venture. She'll launch at the end of this year, and I'm extremely happy with her. She's incredible. She's taken a design element to another level on the Amazon, and is just a sister ship to the Aria because the man merits it, and the destination is an incredible, remote, beautiful part of the world.
Do you have a favorite itinerary? I know it's probably a tough question, but one in particular that you're drawn to?
I mean, I think obviously one of the most recent ones, the ones that blew my mind, is Spice Islands. I think, you know, with this first scheduled Explorer yacht to offer set departures into the Spice Islands for October, two months out of the year. And I think people have heard of the fabled Spice Islands and the Dutch influence, but I think many Americans don't know that the British gave up Manhattan in exchange for an island. Sorry, the Dutch gave up Manhattan in exchange for an island called Pulau Run in the Spice Islands in 1667 in order to control the trade routes of the world for spice, nutmeg, and cinnamon. And I think to be able to see this living museum, which is exactly what it is, when you walk into Bandaneira and you pull up in this deep, beautiful, deep harbor, it's 7 Dutch forts with incredible history, with steel cannons still sitting on the side of the road that the Dutch left there in order to laden up their galleons with nutmeg. So I think that is a trip of a lifetime, and one that definitely should be on people's bucket list, or at least move up a few notches.
Wow. Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers?
The cruising clientele and the demographic is an extremely resilient one, and one that is drawn to the beauty of the destinations we visit. Obviously, being small enough to call into any port of call, where, you know, what we've had to do even more so today is illustrate how our ships are locally flagged in the country that we operate in, how we're able to call into ports of call twice a day, every day. And I think whilst we're not transoceanic, we're not foreign flagged, we are locally flagged, we operate locally. And I think that's an important distinction to make when you're booking a trip with us, because once you fly into Aqua Blue and you join that you're ensured that you can get on and off as many times as you want because we're staying in Indonesian waters, or we're staying in Cambodian waters, or we're staying in Peruvian waters. And I think that, given the consumer mindset today, is an important distinction to make. But if not, we look forward to having them.
Well, our readers of Porthole Magazine and Porthole.com are excited to learn more about Aqua Expeditions. And it's been a pleasure interviewing Francesco Galli Zagara, the CEO of Aqua Expedition. Thanks for getting up at the crack of the morning there in Singapore for this interview, and look forward to meeting in person, hopefully on one of your vessels.
Look forward to Bill. Thank you, and stay well, and we'll be in touch soon. Thank you.
Thank you. You bet. Thank you very much. Thank you.